Mental illness can impact relationships in a variety of ways, particularly if living under the same roof. You might experience burnout, especially if you are their primary caregiver or if you are feeling overwhelmed by handling responsibilities they cannot take care of themselves. Just managing day-to-day living can be emotionally exhausting. If the relationship is romantic, you may experience challenges with intimacy as well. Depending on your partner's mental health condition and any medications they take, they might experience hypersexual behaviors or have no interest in sex at all, both of which can be hard on relationships. In some cases, the person you're living with might be hesitant to tell you about their mental health disorder. They may worry that you will end the relationship once you find out, or wonder whether you'll be able to navigate their symptoms together. Marital relationship can be a blissful one. However, a lot of issues may crop up in this relationship between two individuals if they do not consciously focus on maintaining, nurturing, and sustaining their relationship. You might find that living day to day with a mental illness or with a partner who has a mental illness can affect your relationship in different ways. Some of the ways that mental health issues can impact a marriage include communication, codependency, intimacy problem, grief, amongst others. Having a spouse affected by mental health issues can be navigated if both partners are willing to work together to cope and communicate through challenges. There are several actions you can take that are helpful for creating a healthier relationship dynamic. Learn about their mental illness, be supportive, do not become their therapist, put protections in place, practice self-care, and also seeking out individual therapy, couples counseling, or family therapy can be immensely helpful as it can help you process your emotions and allow you to keep showing up for your loved ones in a healthy way. There are several factors that increase risk of mental health in relationship and marriages. Loneliness. In a marriage, loneliness happens when a person feels their partner doesn't understand their needs and wants. A lack of attention increases the risk of mental health issues like anxiety and depression. This could be because a spouse is a workaholic and never at home, or it could be a more sinister deliberation, such as being ignored by a narcissist. Feeling lonely in a marriage has consequences. For example, when a person is lonely, they are less likely to engage in healthy activities and behaviors, such as exercising and eating healthy. Loneliness affects sleep, increases stress, lowers self-esteem, and causes a spiral of negative thinking. Toxicity in the guise of love. Extreme events and circumstances do obvious damages to mental health, such as domestic violence. But in a marriage, there are also lots of subtleties at play that can chip away at mental well-being. It takes time to get to know somebody. Narcissists can be charming at the beginning of a relationship, but marry one and life can look very different in a year or two, or even within a few months. There is no end to the psychological damage a narcissist can cause. Being married to a narcissist can lead to low self-esteem, diminished healthy connection with others, and restricted access to the resources that support well-being. With a narcissist, you will likely experience emotional abuse, verbal abuse, general bad behavior, and silent treatment. Anxiety and depression commonly develop because of narcissistic abuse. Even the imposition of relatives can cause huge damage to one's mental health. The parent-child relationship can have a more extensive effect on marriage than expected. Without healthy boundaries, parents, siblings, and other close relatives can cause conflicts and confusion in a marriage. And last but not the least, parenting differences. It's a fact that children add stress to marriage, mainly when the kids are young. It is common for couples to have differences of opinions on all manner of things, including parenting. Although parenting disagreements are expected, they can create chaos in relationships when unresolved. Parenting differences can lead to an emotional and physical disconnect, a lack of trust, and behavioral changes. Disagreements about parenting puts a relationship at risk and negatively impacts the children. Parenting stress, especially when there are differences of opinion, can lead to depression. However, any person can reach a point in their life where it seems they can no longer go on or face significant challenges. Traumatizing childhood experiences, losses, separation, psychological or physical abuse, and chronic stress can all be reasons for developing fears, depression, burnout, addiction, or eating disorders. Seeking therapy or marriage counselor would definitely be a great step in the right direction. Prioritize your mental health today.
Welcome back. We're still on Family and Values, and my guest this morning is this ebony, beautiful Mrs. Olushola Beecroft is a relationship expert. So, ma'am, you saw that clips. We're talking about mental health and how it affects relationships and marriage. You know, I just wonder, let us even start from the family, because that is where children are raised, you know. Because even within the family, you see that some children behave differently from others, and these are of the same parents. Let's just briefly start from there, you know, before we go out and then we talk about mental health. You know, that's, I don't know, what's
whether parents, whether children, we treat ourselves as an individual. Because biologically,
yes,
we believe you have carry a gene from your mother, from your father, from you. But by the time you're here, you're an individual. That you have about 10 children, they will behave 10 different ways. Even though they are all under your roof. You monitor them day and night, but they will behave differently. The reason being that, like I said, an individual, they will go out, they will mix with different people. You don't know, even from KG, kindergarten.
yes,
They behave differently because they have different friends, different relationships. No matter how small they are,
yes,
you see them, they associate. They will tell you, a 2-year-old will tell you, this is my friend. I don't like that. That one is not my friend. You know, these are innate. There are some of these reasons that are innate born. That there's nothing any parent can do about it. We are just guardians, like the Bible puts it. You guide them. Like you said initially, if they listen to you, you are favored. But by the time you discover that they're supposed to go this way, they are going this way, you have to take it easy. Sit back. Where am I wrong? What am I going to do to put this guy on the right path? Force will not do anything any longer. You're talking about old days. When your parents are coming, you'll be shaking. But now, parents has no meaning. If wherever you like, come. If you like, go. They don't care. Sit down there, they will not sit. They will want to stand up. If you ask them to sit down, they will ask you, why should I sit down? That wasn't the way we were raised up.
No. And it baffles me. Like you have said, yes, they get to a certain age, they have a set mind. They can choose because they have a choice. But as parents, when you say sit back, I can understand that. You let them be, right? But are we going to fold our arms and see them destroy themselves? No. So as a parent, you have a right to say, you're keeping the wrong set of friends.
Yes.
I don't want that.
Simple.
I don't want that, because that's where the problem starts from.
The peer group.
The peer group, the fraternities.
Yes, the community of people join together.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you didn't raise them that way. You didn't raise them that way.
Yes, Mom.
Do you get? So Now, we're talking about mental health because they get to a certain age, they will marry because, you know, our parents brought us up, the girl child, they prepare you for marriage eventually after education, okay, and the boy child, you should marry.
Yeah.
So that, you know, it's like marry, like the typical African mother or Nigerian mother will say, I want to see my grandchildren. Okay, so if they have that kind of mindset that they didn't break away from, then they go and marry. You see, this generation is such that you are talking about marry a friend. They don't have the time to even start friendship. Some of them cannot even strike a conversation. You know, that is, it's frightening to be at home and be thinking that your daughter is in someone else's family, or your son has brought a girl into your family. Ma'am, we're talking about mental health. It's becoming alarming. The rate is becoming alarming. Some say it's the economy. Yes, I want to think the economy is part of it.
Yeah.
Because when there is no money, there's no food on the table, you know. All right, the economy, fine. The use of substance and drugs. Do you know, like 3 days ago, I saw a young man on this express road, catwalking, broad daylight. The cars are trying to avoid him. He didn't even know he was on the express road. Is that normal?
It's not. It's off.
So let's still talk about mental health. And narcissism or whatever it is, will you still be with someone that is not normal? My second guest just came in right now. Traffic rain,
Yes, ma,
so we can
traffic
understand.
Apologies.
and she is Joy Abu. Joy Abu is also a public speaker and relationship expert. Before you came in,
Yes,
today's
ma'am.
topic is mental health. Mental health. Okay. So, ma'am, we were talking about substance and drugs with today's generation. I told you of the young boy that was catwalking on the express road, broad daylight.
Mental health, drug, they're the same. Because anything that goes to your brain, simple, disorder. That's why even the ordinary tablets we're taking, they are poison. Because my doctor friend told me, take less of those things. They are poison. Not to talk of somebody taking hard drugs. And because they want to feel high. And you cannot feel high without putting something in their mouth. And by the time they are feeding themselves with hard drugs, definitely they will be off balance. Because everything goes to the brain. When you think from your brain. And anything going wrong is from your brain. That's why people that are the lunatics, they believe everything they are doing is normal. And so they even see you normal people as abnormal.
Oh.
So by the time you're talking about mental health, it affects every aspect of anybody's life. And that comes through what you put in your mouth.
Okay, briefly, your take on mental health.
I will take it from the point of anxiety and depression.
Okay.
Once you put yourself in that state of anxiety, you're automatically heading towards mental health. And it's obvious that anxiety is associated with mental health. The same way depression is associated with mental health. And people don't want to realize that once you're depressed, you're heading towards that state of mental health. And at that point, you're given drugs that would help you because you're having insomnia, you can't sleep. So you have to take something extra to help you sleep. So you're damaging your brain the more. trying to solve a problem, you're heading towards
Another problem.
Another problem. So that's why you see that when we are talking about mental health, sometimes I try to tell people that anxiety, try not to create anxiety in your environment, even in your relationship. Don't let the current situation cause anxiety, because once you have that anxiety in you, there's tendency for you to want something to stimulate your system, something to keep you going. We have people who don't sleep all through the night. They are thinking the relationship, they are thinking of what's happening in the family, what's the next step to take. So all of that, and then they start taking prescriptions, personal drugs. It's not as if they are going to the pharmacy to say this is, somebody just says, okay, I should take this, a sleeping pill. And the more you're taking those sleeping pills, the more it's damaging your system, the more your brain is going.
Ma'am, we are talking about hard drugs, not sleeping pills. We're talking about hard drugs that, like she said, to make them feel irie or to make them feel high. Now, if, life happens, like we discussed yesterday, and Dr. Latunji, our Zoom guest, is a lecturer, and a filmmaker in Lasut. Life happens. We are talking about this generation, our children. Why is hard drugs, is it the remedy?
There are some drugs that they take that are hard drugs, but also sleeping pills. Yes, I could name them to you. For them, once they start taking this drug, it starts from the little ones. It starts from the 25 milligrams. It starts from there, and then they start ingesting it. They start getting addicted to it. And the more you take drugs, the more you build this antibody resistance that resists your drugs. So as it's resisting the little ones, you're growing. So it's a step-by-step thing before they get to that point where they go all out and take the hard ones. And
so these are the factors.
These are the factors. Those are the factors.
Okay, let's talk about care and love, support and encouragement, because there are some situations where the mother has passed or she left because
single parenting,
or she left because the man has become irresponsible and she can't take it anymore. She's pushed to the wall, and she looks at her children and said, instead of me to be here and die, let me shift and leave and be praying from afar and be watching you from afar. The man goes to bring another woman. Then the other woman, we all know that no one is going to take care of your own more than you. There are wicked stepmothers, okay? Then they traumatize the child or children. They are wicked and mean because it's not theirs. They have come to take somebody else's territory. Those children are no longer happy. They become withdrawn. Their father, of course, after all, another woman has come. He doesn't care whether the stepmother is giving them food or not. In fact, sometimes, usually, it is when the father is around, they pretend as if they love the children. Once the father is not there, you idiot. They begin to talk down on the children. They begin to hate the children. Such children, how will they cope? That is where you're coming from.
That's where I'm coming from.
That's where you're coming from.
It starts with depression. Once a child it starts with depression. Once that child is withdrawn, the child doesn't have anyone to talk to. So they starts talking to people that ordinarily he has no business talking to. And somebody will say, okay, you know what, don't worry. Why are you feeling bad? Take this one and calm your system. It starts that way. Take this one and go and sleep. And the child takes it and like, oh, you actually made me sleep. Tomorrow they say, okay, take a higher one. From there, that's how most kids were lured into smoking. It starts with a pop. Just pop it to calm you down. Don't worry. Forget about whatever is happening in the family.
That is
it starts from there.
Depression.
Depression.
Leading them astray.
Astray.
And there's also the harder ones, like injection.
Of
some
course,
injected
yeah,
cells,
injection,
all
the ones
sorts
they
of
know.
things. You know, there are some, they say they put pots.
The ones the
under
sleeve,
the
the ones
all sorts
they,
of
it's
things.
a whole lot. That's what I'm saying is it doesn't just start from them taking the very high one. They start little. They introduce them gradually. Take this one, take this one. And then as you're taking it into your system, you are feeling like, oh, it's actually working, but it's damaging your system. Now the addiction comes in. You're craving for more. You want more.
Ma'am, how can one prevent mental health?
Prevention of mental health will be a difficult topic to look at in this little, because it's so wild. Because somebody, like we are just discussing, a depressed child will grow to adults. So when you started with something like that, what happened? So it has to be something that we do from the beginning. Better for them not to start it. How do we do that?
How do we do that?
As a parent, because everything starts from home.
That's what I said.
Everything from home. Because if there is no good home, no good parenting,
There's no ideal parenting.
no ideal parenting, father can say go this way, mother will say no, it is this way. It has to be work of two becoming one.
You know, we have said this thing before. From the beginning, know who you are dealing with.
That's it.
Get to know this person, because it's not enough to say, all my friends are getting married.
That is the
Society,
bane.
my family. Know this person. You know, Dr. Olatunji said, marriage is not for children. You
It's
should
not
be
for boy and
ready.
girl.
You should be ready. Get to befriend this person. Get to know them. Know their flaws. Know their weaknesses. And if you still want to be with this person, then you can begin to work together for the future. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you just rushed in looking at the outside.
Money.
Money. The family he comes from. The paparazzi
They're
and
rich.
everything. So, if you don't get to know the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, then you go in, it turns out to be a toxic thing, then you begin to run helter-skelter. Maybe by then you would have dropped one or two. Then tomorrow there's depression sets in because you saw that clips that even in marriage you can be lonely.
There are a whole lot of lonely marriages all over. A whole lot.
You see? So what are we doing here? No, really. You know, I've been told that surgeons, you know, bone doctors, if you have a bent leg or bone, they first of all break it to reset it. Sometimes, let us not be pampering the truths. I like to deal with the bitterness of the truth. Are you going to stay with somebody who is mentally mad?
The truth is, when you talk about mental health generally, I would say 35% of adults don't want to accept the fact that they have issues mentally.
Yes.
Now, and that is why once you see somebody displaying the act of depression and you're saying, why don't you go and see a doctor, and they are feeling like nothing is wrong with me, a counselor, they feel like they are okay. So accepting the fact that this thing exists in the first place is the first step to healing. To healing. Because you can actually be healed.
Okay, we'll come back. We're still on family and values. And today's topic is mental health. And I'm here with these two lovely ladies, both experts in their different fields. Dealing with people, you get to meet people a lot of times. You're a relationship expert, you're a public speaker, and relationship. So in your dealings with people, both men and women, and youths, you get to see different types of characters. My Zoom guest is ready. We also have a Zoom guest, Dr. Olatunji. Olatunji, yes, lecturer and filmmaker at LASU. Are you ready, sir? Good morning, Dr. Olatunji.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, there. Good morning. We had a great time yesterday talking about mental health. And we're still continuing with mental health because it's so vast. It's so vast, you know. It's so vast. I also have two guests on site, you know, and they are saying that this topic is not just about parenting, you know, because children have their own minds, you know. Once they leave home, they begin to mix and mingle with all types of people, all sorts of people, you know. Like I say, the youth age or the youthful exuberance is that they want to see for themselves. So they go to where you ask them not to go because they want to do it by themselves, thinking that they know everything, you know, making rubbish of the good home training, you know, that their parents have given them. So we're still talking about mental health, you know, and we talked about drugs as well, you know. So you continue, just briefly, why you think this is on the rise, the issue of drugs and substance, why is it on the rise? Is it just depression?
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think it's depression that is causing this substance abuse.
No, sir.
Just like you said, it's exuberance, they are in school, they are mingling, they are mixing with different people, and you know, they want to experiment. You know, they don't want to be seen as being permit me to use this word, or get inside. They want to be seen as, you know, being part of big boys and big girls. So for that reason, they want to try what their friends are trying. And gradually they get drawn into that dark world. And it becomes difficult, if not impossible for them to come out. Because now they are ashamed of even talking about. Some of them say they are proxies for PTMs, you know, just get money to buy this drug. So it's not about depression. Most of them, when they tell you they are depressed, you ask them what is depressing them, they tell you because, you know, my parents can't buy me a phone and I'm depressed. That's nothing is depressing about that.
So sometimes it's not even depression. It's I want to belong. Yeah? I want to belong to what everybody's doing. So it's not just depression. But Joy Abu here says that depression too could be part of it. Like I said, if your mother left and your father brought in another woman and begins to maltreat the child or children in the house, because almost every other day that happens, a child or children are living with wicked stepmothers that will send them on the streets while their own children are going to school. So if they are on the streets, tendency is that they will mix with the street boys and girls. Yeah?
That's true. But also, we just look at from this angle that, yes, that is there, but if you are determined as a child, you know where you're coming from and you know what you want to make of your own life. No matter the situation, you see the cup half filled and not half empty. So I've always had this mindset that life isn't fair and it's not going to be fair. It's not going to be easy. Life is not easy. The moment you understand that, it makes it easy for you to navigate through life. Because you're not expecting everything to come easy. So you are prepared like a soldier to face it head on. So yes, but at the end of the day, it is your own life. It's not the parents' life. It's not the society's life. It's your own life. So if you don't own it, to face it head on, you know, you have yourself to blame.
True. That's what Mrs. Olushola Beecroft said, that, you know, it gets to a point where they have their own lives to live. But you see, a lot is going on that is not right. You know, if we say because they have their own lives to live, look at you. You're a doctor, you're a lecturer, you know, you're married, happily married, despite the challenges, because you said it some time ago, and you're doing well, you're doing great, you know. Why is it that most times these youths don't know, or they know they don't want to align with the truth, that life happens, that it is about them? It is about them. It is not about who you are following. Because if you follow somebody else and they take you to somewhere you shouldn't be or where you don't want to go, they will dump you there. At the end of the day, the so-called friends that you're following up and down will abandon you. So, like I say, if you add value to yourself and you make an effort to listen to the right people, we have two ears. One is talking wrongly, one is talking rightly. Okay? Is there any way that we could let them know that peer pressure, that happens? A lot of us today, when we went through peer pressure. I did. I was a victim of peer pressure. I survived it. I survived. That happens everywhere. Even in the neighborhood, you see some guys bullying people. They have nothing to offer. They don't. So we are trying to bring back some kind of sanity into these youths. Most of them are overgone. You know, there's one lady that has an NGO. You know, she goes to the dangerous places to preach, to evangelize. But at a point, she herself admitted that some junkies are gone too far. Okay, so Dr. Sir, this mental health issue is affecting every area of one's life. Joy Abu here said it starts with the small drugs, then becomes the bigger drugs. Yeah? So, is there any way for those that want to listen, because they are busy influencing each other the wrong way? The wrong way. Even as adults, when you start mixing with the wrong people, you abandon your responsibilities. There is no two ways about it. She says there is no ideal home, but there are some homes that you would wish you were part of that home. Like, I've been speaking to you for quite some time now. I can just imagine what kind of family you are raising. I can just imagine the kind of wife you married. Women are supposed to be submissive because the husband is the head. We've been doing that, and yet they say in a marriage, one can be lonely. So the one that is lonely, where should she go or where should he go? It's in a marriage.
Okay, first let me comment on the NGO, the person doing NGO. Those people are doing a wonderful job. I see what they do, and it's tough, I must confess, because it's tough trying to redeem lost souls. There are those souls that no matter what you say, they will not follow you. They don't want to be redeemed. They have locked themselves in a particular place in their heads that they don't see the need to. And so it is really tough for someone like me. I don't even like convincing people. Once I tell you one thing, I don't listen, I move on in my life because I have other things to face. So, but now bringing it back home, that's like we said before, I think the first time I was on this show, I said this problem starts from the family. You know, you have two people that are unequally yoked. You bring them together, they get married, and they start creating poison for the world. Now they don't care. They just feel, well, let's give out to the child will raise his or herself. Now they don't do their own job. They have a responsibility. You bring people to this world. It's your job to actually group them and prepare them for the reality, push them. So which is why where people like you, people like us, coming, we need to constantly talk to them. We need to regularly reach out to them and let them know that there is a better world out there. All right. let me use myself as an example. So I started out as a filmmaker, music video director, short TV commercials and all of that. And I never imagined I would come to the classroom. I always disliked lecturers because I felt they were broke. But lecturers are really broke. So I didn't want to come to the classroom. But it got to a point I realized that what is the use of all my money if I just leave this world and I've not touched lives? If I can shoot 1 million videos, it's just going to be money. I'll make money and I'll help corrupt the world a little bit more. So I realized that there is need to actually come back. Let these young people see me. They think I'm their age range. And I'm coming here to say like gradually. So they think I'm their age. They feel connected. They feel connected to me. They feel, oh, if this man is trying for himself, if he's trying in his career, and if he's here imparting knowledge, maybe knowledge is actually not a waste. Maybe school is actually not a scam. And to a large extent, I think I've pushed well in that my mission. It is my own mission. I'm thinking of other ways to flexibility make money by the side so that I can easily and perfectly push my message out. So we need to do more. It's going to be a lot of work, and like I've said several times, that we may not be able to touch everybody. If we aim for the whole country, if we can touch 1,000, if we can redeem 1,000,
honestly,
we've done a good job.
We can start from one soul, and that one soul will continue. So from one soul to the other, that is our mission. That is our mission.